themselves, pace themselves, and when they see the end, when they see the mark, they take off with all that they have. Can we honestly say we are straining ourselves to a goal? And I'm not talking about any goal. I'm talking about a goal that is Christ, likeness in your life. Here and there, yeah, maybe. Well, then that's not straining. That's not reaching forth unto Christ. He says, I press toward the mark. You see, the race that we're talking about is not a competition between you and me. Who's going to be the better Christian? That's not the competition. But it becomes a competition of the Christian and the distracting surroundings that would trip you up. It is about putting those things aside that matter not. Paul says later that he put off those sins which easily beset him. Those things that weigh him down. He says, those things that keep me from truly serving, following Christ. He says, I put it off. I've never seen a marathon runner in heavy armor or heavily weighed down. What is it that weighs us down and keeps us from serving Christ? Is our own selfishness, our own sin, our own pride. Those things which Christ had warned us against from the beginning, we cling to. And those things weigh us down. Paul always had in mind the goal, and he considered the things that would distract as not important to look at. Today there's a lot to look at, isn't there? There's a lot of things to look at, and there's a lot of things that distract. There's a lot of things that want to get our attention. And when our attention is spent on the things that are not of God, we can't keep our eyes on Christ. I don't know about you, I can't see in two different directions. I can't keep my mind on two different things. If I'm thinking on one thing, I'm not thinking on another. If I'm thinking on Christ, I'm not thinking on other things. If I'm thinking on other things, I am not thinking on Christ. If I'm looking at Christ or looking unto Christ or reading my Bible or in prayer, or if I'm studying or if I'm witnessing or whatever, I'm not thinking on worldly, ungodly things. We need to be single-minded and not trying to widen the spectrum of our we're not, unfortunately a lot of churches have taken the things of the world and the things of church. They like to have their cake and eat it too, so to speak. The church has become worldly and the world has become churchy, and there's no marked difference anymore, and we're bringing things into the church and so on and so forth. Man, those are distractions, and before long the Word of God is something that's secondary, not primary. And it's a compromise, unfortunately, that we see time and time and time again. We know Christ will be the ultimate victor, but we're seeing defeats, individual lives, day by day by day, because they're distracted. Paul said those things which would distract me, those things that would easily beset me, those things that weigh me down, those things I will purposefully and permanently, hopefully permanently, those things I want out of my life. And it takes a conscious effort to do that. It won't happen on accident. Secondly, we find also, or thirdly, we see Paul's expectation. Why do you run? Why run? Why does a person run a race? Well, so they can win, someone would say. Some people would say, well, to see if they could do it. Well, those are good answers. But why do we run? Why was Paul running? To be sure, we strive to run well to please God. He wants us to run well, that we be not distracted so much that we keep our eyes off of God. But we should run for His approval. My daughter tries to get my attention a lot. As a child, tries to get the attention of their father a lot. And unfortunately, I don't always do that. I may have my mind in my Bible, whatever. She'll say something and pull on and try to get my attention. God has our full attention, and we should get His approval. That's why we always pray, God, would you please smile down on our services and be pleased with what we do? And it's the same thing with our running. He wants to